God did not save Trump from the bullet. Think about it with your brain, not philosophically, theologically. I live in Missouri and I have a lot of red hat wearing neighbors, and some of them are posting about how God had a plan and saved Trump from the assassination attempts. There are Republicans that believe in God and there are liberals that believe in God, and lots of people look across the aisle and say, no, you're butter side up, and the other people say butter side down. Your beliefs are anathema to what I conceive religion to be, and the other people say, well, your beliefs are anathema to butter side down. But just for the sake of argument, let's pretend that God does have the ability to intervene in small events like the paths of bullets. What does that mean, and why is it actually a heresy in a lot of theological conceptions? It actually goes by two names. One is the just world theory, and another is the prosperity gospel. And both of them are really theological wolf in philosophical sheep's clothing. I knew about just world theory because of my ethics degrees, but then I learned about it again in PTSD treatment. Just world theory is the belief that good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people, that the world is just in that regard. It comes up in PTSD because believing that bad things happen to bad people is a way to understand trauma, because if you believe that I'm bad and I deserved it, that's one way to make sense of a horrible thing happening in the world. But if God controls things in the world and bad things happen to bad people, what does that imply about the Sandy Hook school shooting, for instance? Either God is just picking and choosing who's good enough to be worth intervening for, or the people in Sandy Hook somehow deserved it. That's a preposterous, morally repulsive claim. And if you're really committed to just world theory, even if you're anti-abortion or something, you'd have to say, well, it happened to the kids that were about to be born. They must have done something bad to have deserved it. Just world theory is patent nonsense, and it's part of why it's a belief that comes up when you're trying to cope with an immeasurable trauma that has happened to you. But it also goes by a different name in radical right Christian circles, the prosperity gospel theory. Prosperity gospel is an intentional manipulation strategy that many I said manipulative twice, predatory pastors use as a way to extract donations from their congregations. A TikTok colleague of mine named Donnell has a really good explanation of this, and it's about tithing and how you have to give your property to the church because that proves that you're good, and if you do things that are good and the world is ordered, you will become wealthy and rewarded by tithing to the church. Another way of thinking of this is a pyramid scheme, right? There are pastors that are buying private jets and there's pastors that are buying mansions because they're telling people, well, you prove your goodness by giving me money, and look at how much money I have, and that proves my goodness, so prove your goodness. And it's malicious. I know that there are ways to conceive of God intervening in the world that don't concede prosperity gospel or just world theory. But boy, the way that some people are talking about Trump surviving is accidentally implying that victims of crimes deserve what happened to them. And I don't buy it. That's all. Happy reading.